Here I have finished the initial wash. I'm going to add in the shadow color. And when it comes to shadow, there is no easy way to find out the shadow. You can squint your eyes, but at the beginning it is going to be difficult. You won't be able to simplify it. You will see all the petals and everything. You will see everything in front of your eyes. But after a while, after you have been painting for a while, you will get used to it and you will begin to simplify it. And so I'm still trying to see what is on my reference, but since I won't be able to paint everything, not that I am not able to, I don't want to, because I'm not patient. I don't want to paint petal by petal, all the different shades and so on. I just want to capture the general shape of the rose. So I am simplifying, but I'm not painting in the C shapes as you often see in the tutorials on YouTube. I'm trying to see what is actually on the reference and paint those. So here I am mixing some dirty colors to melt it, because as it goes out towards the outside of the rose, the color is more muted. So I just use some dirty color on my palette to get those muted tones. And when I'm painting, I don't really know what I'm going to do, so I'm just looking at what is happening. And very often when I'm, let's say, more than halfway of my painting, then I will even stop looking at my reference altogether. I would just look at my painting and see where I should add things to make it look more pleasing to the eyes. Because since I'm not copying the photo exactly, at this point it won't be very helpful to look at the photo. And here I'm softening the edge. As you can see, my paint is very watery and my brush is wet. It's very often how I paint. I don't like using, let's say, a moderately dry brush. I like to use a brush that is full of water, almost drippy, because that way the paint can flow, but it can be also hard to control. If you find it hard to control, maybe you can either use a smaller brush or dab it dry before you put it on your paper. Here I'm adding more pinkish color on the roses. I'm using very thick paint so that it won't flow, it will stay in the center where I want it. When I don't want a color to flow everywhere, usually I use very thick paint, or I wait for the paper to dry a little bit more. As you can see, the paper is not completely dry, otherwise I would get all the hard edges. Here I'm adding even deeper shadow color, because you want some contrast in your painting, otherwise it would look like washed out. So you have to figure out somewhere to add in dark colors. Even a little bit of it helps a lot. If you still find it hard to paint roses, it's quite normal. They are quite difficult to paint, especially at the beginning. And I would suggest painting from life and observe more. The more you observe things, the better you see them. Even if eventually you paint from photos, it will still help you. And here I'm adding in some warm color to add some more interest, because if the roses are only made of pink, they will look quite boring. So usually I try to add some warm and cool color to make it more interesting. I try to, let's say, one side is warm color, the other side is cool color. I mean, there is a logic to it. It's not that I'm randomly adding cool and warm color everywhere. I try to give a sense of light to it. And if you don't know what you are doing, the best thing you can do is to stop and go back to the painting when you are more fresh. So when you can't see what you should do, you should stop. Here I'm adding in some dark blue in the flower centers. And usually I like to add blues because it stands out more than the red. You can't find a deep enough red. As you can see, often I am very undecided when I paint. I move the brush around and I try to feel where I should put it down, and then I make a brush stroke. And I think the worst thing that you can do is follow some kind of formula of how to paint certain things. You should really observe what is in front of you and decide on your own how to paint it every single time, because they are going to be different. As for green, usually I have an area for green in my palette. I just add some other colors to it. Mostly I used sap green and some kind of blues. I don't like mixing my own green because it takes a lot of time to mix it. So usually I start with a green and I mix in some yellow or some blue to change it a little bit. When I paint flowers or other things, I rarely paint more than 2 washes, because as you know, I'm impatient, so if I do more than 2 washes, it means that I will never finish it. So usually that's what I do. It doesn't mean that they are enough, just that I have to find a way that is compatible with my way of painting. I don't want it to be boring, you know? And thanks for watching. See you next time.